Would like to welcome everyone here today. We've got a number of people from different VIPs and representations here, and want to welcome you individually and collectively. I'm Bruce Todd, CEO, General Manager of STRATA Networks, and it's my honor to start this off. First, we want to make sure we thank Dusty and Carol Olson in the back there for putting us up. Carol is saying it always looks this nice here, so it's amazing how well they do. But we really appreciate it for hosting us for this great opportunity. We're honored to have with us DJ LaVoy, Deputy Undersecretary of Rural Development, Randy Parker, Utah State Director, and we'll hear from them. But first, we appreciate DJ coming all the way from DC, he's from Reno, and understands the West and everything going on, and he's been doing a number of these events, and just a great individual, and just a short time getting to know him. Anyone involved with USDA has to be. So DJ, we'll turn it to you.
That's a great Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is really a pleasure to be here amongst all of you in God's country. This is really like coming home. As I've shared with them, I'm from Reno, and I grew up all my summers in Elko on a ranch. And when I look at this beautiful ranch that Carol and Dusty have, I'm thinking, wow, it doesn't get any better than this. I have the great pleasure in this position of being able to travel around the country doing a lot of things, and the thing that makes it so wonderful is people like yourselves. Rural America is what America is really all about. It is the foundation of all our values. It is what we started as a country, and it's what will keep us as a great country, is preserving exactly what we know to be rural America. And that's why this program is so powerful. When we look at what we have in this wonderful country, the thing that really is lacking in many places is the ability to connect to the internet. It's so simple. Think of a door. If the door is closed, my friends, my neighbors aren't coming in to see me. I'm not going out to go to work. I'm not doing the things I need to do. When that door is open, a little chilly air coming in from this one today, but I love it. When that door is open, everything moves. I am able to talk to my friends, my relatives. I'm able to go to the store. I'm able to do all the things I want to do in my life. And if you think of broadband in that term, that's exactly what it is. It's the connectivity that allows you to make those connections. The Department of Agriculture, and particularly rural development, has been part of the structure of rural America for a very, very long time. Because of our relationships, particularly with our co-ops, be they electrical, telephone, water, etc., we have this incredible network that we are now able to take advantage of. And the advantage is the relationships and the ability to be able to go to trusted friends and neighbors who you have in the form of STRATA and what they bring to you, and be able to add that additional value of what ReConnect means. This particular announcement today is one that I have great pleasure in announcing because it's for a sum of $23.6 million. $11.8 is loan and $11.8 is grant, and that's something we necessarily want to see because we want to make sure that there's a definite pride that comes with that. We're going to be, with this, when it's completed, connecting 3,000 farms, think about that, over 400 square miles. That is a significant part of this beautiful state. And when we have that type of capability and be able to bring the fiber in and the changes we make, it's something that takes us completely into the future. So between Duchesne County and United County, we are looking at making an incredible difference. Where did this come from? It starts with President Trump. It goes to Secretary Perdue. Their leadership, their direction, they are behind this and pushing it like you can't believe. Senator Lee, Senator Romney, and Representative Bishop, your elected representatives, have been champions. You know, in government, as we all know, on our three branches, the thing that brings it to closure every day is appropriations, the amount of money that's provided. This program has been so successful already in its infancy that we have actually had funds added to what we already had provided in the previous year. That is not something that happens very often. So the credibility of what we've been able to accomplish working with wonderful people like yourselves has just made such a difference. And I would envision that we will continue in this role for some long time period, because what happens? We are making differences in things that's so fundamental, such as precision farming. When I was recently in Missouri on a visit such as this in a very similar setting, a little bit bigger barn, but about the same, not as nice as Dusty and Carol's, but a nice setup. And when I was there talking to the people, and I'm talking to this one individual woman who is a hog farmer that rows also corn, and she's rolling it. She's got a rolling mill. She's talking to me because she is now working 200 miles away. You have to make sure you have the cash flow to make things work, but the family farm is so important to her because she's a fourth generation farmer that she is setting the size of the rolls, and she is actually sitting at her desk with her telephone running her press mills. She is feeding her hogs on schedule. She's running the water cycles off her phone. That's the future. And that's what we have to provide to all of you who are out here as ranchers and cattlemen and sheep and the things that you have. You want to be able to do everything necessary and make it as efficient and effective as you can. Precision agriculture is going to be one of the biggest things that comes from this. But let's talk about something else that's equally important to all of us: healthcare. In this wonderful area, I don't think I'm going to find a large 300-bed hospital. Is that a true statement? Close. Close. But what I will find is some great doctors, and I will find some very dedicated people that are part of your community that really believe in your community. But there will be situations that will come up when you're going to need that expert, that medical practitioner who knows exactly what to do when the unusual or the crisis arrives. Picture the situation when you're sitting in an operating room, don't want any of you to be there, but should you, or an emergency room, there's a crisis, we turn to the screen, we turn it on, and we're talking to that specialist, and that specialist is providing the expertise that is allowing you to be a survivor of whatever you are dealing with. That is what broadband brings, is that connection to give you that ability to be able to extend that wisdom to any place in this beautiful country that you have to be able to do that. Think about education. Recently in Kentucky, at a small liberal arts college, used to have about 500 students struggling. They have now expanded dramatically into extended education, into broadband education. They're up to about 2,500 and serving a very depressed rural area. But they're allowing young people, and the age doesn't matter, but allowing them to continue their education and go to another level. If you want to be a precision farmer, there is things you have to understand technology-wise. There's always going to be something you can learn that makes you a better person and strengthens your community. With broadband, I now can sit and do exactly that. The story is commonly shared in some of these events that we go about in many areas where kids want to do their homework. Parents, being good parents like all of you, kids download at the McDonald's, they drive 20 miles, they go home, they do their homework, they drive 20 miles back the next morning before school and upload the homework. That's what people are having to do that aren't connected. You have to have that connectivity. The thing that makes such a tremendous difference that I always relate to is that although I'm from Reno and love Elko and love this part of the country, I now reside in Virginia. And I have a very nice place that I like in Alexandria, which is right there, part of DC almost. But I have a home down in a little fishing village called Reedville. It's got about 2,000 people right on the Chesapeake Bay. I don't grow cattle anymore, I grow oysters, but it's protein, right? Anyway, one of the things that showed up there a year ago is broadband, and it has totally transformed that community. But the real message is this: no matter where you are in this beautiful country, you should have the opportunity and the choice to live where you choose. And that means the medical facility, the connectivity to education, and whatever else that you want to be able to do as an American, and choose to live in a place where it is exactly the quality of life you want to see. Look at the tremendous values that we treasure here in rural America. Look at what we look at in terms of the importance of family. Those values are very, very important to our country. If I can choose to live anywhere in this country because I am connected and I can make a living and I can do the things I need to do, I have the entire country as a place to choose from. We got a little village up in Maine that I was recently in that 400 people came together, put the application, they received a broadband grant. Their tax base is now going to change. They can bring in people who want to live in rural America and look out at the Atlantic Ocean. That's what it's about. People want to come and live in this beautiful part of Utah. When you're here and are able to contribute and be a part of the community, there is no better image than you can have and no more powerful builder than what rural America is all about. So as we are providing this also, the other thing we want to remember is also providing support to the Oneida Basin and to the Ute Reservation, and being able to connect them to broadband and all the things that means to all of us as Americans. So when we look at what rural America means to us, and when we look at what we can have for that connectivity, it is such a game changer. And that's why I am so happy to be here today in Whiterocks making this announcement for the significant amount of funds that will take us to that particular level. This is what the future is about for all of us. God bless America.
It's good to be here with you today, and being in the Uinta Basin. It's just a fabulous place, and it's a great opportunity. As we were driving out here, I was describing my connection to the basin to the Deputy Secretary, and my son, his wife, and 4 of my grandchildren live over here in Duchesne. And so I feel a connection to the Uinta Basin. And you know what? That's what this is all about, and that's being connected. And I think that's the beauty of this announcement here today is expanding that connection. As was noted, my name's Randy Parker. I've been in this position as State Director of USDA Rural Development for just a little over 2 years. I'm proud to be here representing the President of the United States. My appointment came through Orrin Hatch from the President, and that makes it doubly good to be representing a President that cares about rural America. I too want to thank the Olsons for hosting us. Thank you. It's an applause for them this is not easy. Thank you. And I want to thank DJ for coming to Utah. It's not an easy trek from Washington, D.C. to Salt Lake, and then jumping in a vehicle and 3+ hours to come out here. But you know what? His commitment to rural America and us in rural Utah is obvious, and thank you, DJ, for making the trip out here. It's appreciated. what we do in connecting rural Utah has significant challenges, as any of us that recognize the geography, the land ownership issues, whether they be federal government, tribal, private property, whatever they be, we've got challenges. And thank you to STRATA for recognizing that they can deliver broadband to great people in Uinta and Duchesne counties. Thank you for that commitment and what you're doing. I want to share with you a story, and Rebecca, raise your hand. Rebecca is the lead person at the state of Utah on the broadband initiative, and I want to just tell a story about somebody that was visionary at the county level, a good friend of all of ours, Darren Bushman, and what his vision was. But before I do that, Heath, where are you at? Back in the back. Heath is our lead guy from our agency on broadband from the state standpoint. So just wanted to point him out that's our local connection to it. But all right, back to my story about Darren Bushman. Darren is a great friend. He's from Paiute County, and he had a vision, and that vision was online jobs, moving jobs off the Wasatch Front, helping to get rid of some of the pollution, some of the congestion, some of that, and developing opportunities in rural Utah. So we came up with this idea of online jobs, and it's been given the term the ROI, Rural Online Initiative. Thank you, Greg. It just jumped out of my head. Well, about 10 days, 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in my office and the phone rings, and it's from Secretary Perdue's office. From Secretary Perdue's office. And they said, Randy, do you know a Darren Bushman? And I said, yeah, he's a good friend from, yes. And they said, well, we got a call from the White House about him. You guys will appreciate this. We got a call about Darren Bushman from the White House. And I got a gulp and a little nervous. And they said, have you heard of the ROI, Rural Online Initiative? And I said, absolutely. We're participating in that. We're a partner to the Rural Online Initiative, helping build the infrastructure to put those jobs in rural Utah. And they said, well, the White House knows Darren and knows his vision for this, and want to make sure that that partnership in Utah is mentioned here today. Well, you know, coming down from the White House through the Secretary, to me, that's an easy ask. And Darren is a terrific friend and a terrific county commissioner, and you all that work with him understand that. And his partner in that effort was Representative Carl Albrecht. And I want to pay tribute to both of them, because that's a vision that is changing the landscape of Utah and jobs in rural Utah. So thank you to both of them. Before I give up the microphone, I want to just read a comment from a letter that Secretary Perdue sent to Governor Gary Herbert that recognizes the challenges of investing in critical infrastructure in rural America. He said this: we at USDA are proud to fill in where private sector lenders cannot invest, with the ability to finance vital infrastructure in the most remote, economically challenged communities, boosting their economic opportunity. Among USDA's most important programs are those that support expanding America's rural broadband infrastructure. That was from the Secretary of Agriculture to our governor in the state of Utah, and that's what DJ and I are trying to do, is exactly that. So we're here to make good on a promise, and that's what's exciting here today. And I'm going to use a tagline that is on our letterhead and all of that, and that is, let's all remember, when rural Utah prospers, all of Utah prospers. Thank you.
We are glad that the news is finally out. We have been waiting for you to be here and to give that information. But I do want to make sure I thank Jamie and from the Public Information Officer for making this possible too, and all that she has done. And I know she appreciates Tyler and the help given there as well. For the last few years, STRATA has been focusing on getting fiber out to its customers and residents here in the basin. We have a goal to get 1,000 locations every year where economically possible. And we've been meeting that. We have over 8,000 that have fiber today. But it was always difficult to get to everyone as quickly as we wanted to. And when this opportunity, this ReConnect grant loan opportunity came up, we had some employees that worked hard to get the application in. And boy, do we feel grateful to them for being successful in getting that loan and grant on behalf of the basin. And if you would take back to the leaders our gratitude for being named as one of those in getting those fundings, because it allows us to increase getting fiber out. The board supported us in doing that. I was mentioning to DJ that it was UBTA at that time, Unibasin Telephone, started as a result of farmers that were not getting services. And they started up a cooperative that was operational in 1953. And the funding did come from USDA in order for us to do it. And so some 50 years later, we're reconnecting to getting additional services. And by the way, Dusty and Carol, you're part of that area that is going to be getting that, and the reason why we're meeting at this location. John is in the back. He'll put up on the screen the information that we can share with you now. We have 10 exchanges or districts, and all 10 are part of that ReConnect process. In a way, it's gratifying. In another way, it's concerning that we had that many areas that needed better services, over 10 megabits. But we appreciate the board, and we have some of our board members here with us today, our president, Kent Petrus, and appreciate their support. Kent's been around a long time, and so he's seen a number of these things develop. But anyway, more information will be coming out. That's going to take some time to finalize and move on, and we'll get the plows in the ground as soon as possible. We are getting some training and development the first week of March. We've signed our acceptance letter, and now we're just trying to finalize all the details and appreciate this opportunity. We did want to hear from Irene Hansen and from the Duchesne County Commissioner and Brad Whiterocks from Uintah County. So we'll turn the time over to them.
Well, I've kind of been nicknamed the Basin cheerleader. What a great honor it is. When I come to things like this, I'm only missing the pom-poms, but you can enjoy what you'd think would happen if I had them. First of all, Commissioner Todd's like, don't do that. Speaking of commissioners, first of all, there are commissioners that aren't here today from both Uintah County and Duchesne County, and believe me, they wanted to be. And their heart is here with us, and they wanted us to express their appreciation, their thanks, and their goodwill towards what's been accomplished here. You know, I've been at the Capitol a lot the last few weeks, and there's this, everybody's talking about moving the needle in rural Utah. And of course, that means talking about rural America. And we're so lucky to live in a state where they concentrate on moving that needle. But, you know, isn't it interesting, in a lot of rural America, there's people rushing out right now. They just are. Hospitals are closing, plants are closing, things are happening, but isn't it awesome that USDA is rushing in? What does that make you when you're rushing in when others are rushing out? I won't use that word yet, but we all know what I'm thinking, and it's true. USDA is rushing in. And that is accomplishing unbelievable things. You know, as we live here in the basin, and we collectively look at the cards we were dealt, and sometimes you just have to do that. Some things aren't possible. We lack some transportation. For those that came in, this was a beautiful drive out here, but as you drive back out on Highway 40, you'll notice there's no interstate. Currently don't have a rail, and we don't have commercial air service in Duchesne County. Fortunately, we do have commercial air service in Vernal, but we don't have access to an international airport within 30 minutes. Sometimes that's the necessity of companies that are expanding. But there is a new day. The day of everybody putting on their fancy shoes and their three-piece suit and heading to a bank somewhere, those days are becoming less and less because people now are being able to work from home, live where they want to live. Now, you know, I remember going to Bruce Todd, President and CEO of at that time UBTA, now STRATA Networks, and because everybody was telling me in the late 80s, early 90s, there's going to be this great equalizer, the internet. And I knew that we weren't dealt the card of having a rail, and we weren't dealt the card of having a freeway, and there was great vision for what could happen. But, you know, there could have been a time when we were left behind too. Can you imagine that rural America, rural Utah, could have been left behind the curveball if it weren't for great leaders? And Bruce Todd, his board, outstanding, amazing board that took risks that now are, I mean, now it's all called insightful and leader, but back then there was probably people that were ready to take them to the woodshed. And they showed great leadership and great bravery and willingness to invest and believe. And because of that, we have been able to develop an unbelievable scenario in our area that is allowing us to diversify. You know, even our wonderful energy industry, you know what? People don't go around very often in what you might think. You know what their trucks have? Granted, they probably still have tools and all that stuff, but they have a computer mounted to their dash. And they get connectivity because of USDA, the state of Utah, and our great company that STRATA Networks. And so because of that, we have engineers living here now. We have their geologists living here now. And so those kinds of things have really moved the needle, so to speak. You know, it all sounded real good. And I remember the day 2 or 3 years ago when my son called me, who lived in Idaho at the time. He does cybersecurity. And he called and said, my oldest daughter is getting ready to start high school, and we're thinking about moving back. So is all that stuff you say at every family reunion? Now, I don't know what you do at your family reunions, but they have to listen to me brag. And I do it regularly. And he said, is any of that really true? Can I work from there and do my job that I'm doing now from a big city? And I said yes. But I took a big gulp. Because I'm like, this is real. Because if my son is moving home, that means someone else's son can move home. And he did. That was 2 years ago. And his daughters are cheerleaders and going to college and doing stuff here, taking college classes in the academic decathlon, having amazing opportunities that they would have never even thought were possible here, being raised here. And so don't think for 1 minute what this, I'm getting confused. I'll tell you what this means. This means that there will be other sons and daughters that will come home. This means that our health care will improve. This means that a single mom will have a job that she can work from home. This means that we can diversify our economy. And while other people are running out of rural areas across America, USDA, STRATA, State of Utah, Duchesne, Uintah County, we're running in, and we're here for the long haul. So I'm telling for those that are Basinites here, don't forget what we have and protect it. Become a raving fan of what we have, like STRATA Networks and other amazing infrastructure that we have here. Become their fan and stay familiar with what they're doing and always be their advocate. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm standing between lunch and getting over here, but let's thank the guys for hosting us, the Olsons, and the food that was provided here, and we appreciate you guys. You know, the great partnership that we have with STRATA, thank you. It's, you know, it is a tremendous asset to have people like this in our community that supports every aspect of our community. There's not a lot that hasn't been said here today, and I'll relay one quick story. Oh, first off, Tyler Rasmussen and me's and I's grandparents were ranchers right down the road. Now he has to admit that he's related to me, but we spent a lot of time growing up right down the road here, and we appreciate it, and thank all of you for that. But they, you know what, just a little fast story. You know, about 15 years ago, there was a young lady and a young man met at Utah State University. Fell in love. She got her doctorate in special ed. He had the desire to move back to rural Utah and be a farmer, a rancher. Love always brings you together, but in the instances that could have probably separated a relationship because of she'd got her doctorate in special ed and wanted to be a professor at Utah State University. And but with the broadband and the stuff there, she was able to move to Vernal, Utah, raise her family. She's a teacher online. She is able to provide for her family. Her dream is being fulfilled. But most of all, I got a son that is living in Vernal, Utah, and able to live there because of the broadband and the visions that we've had in the past to bring that to Uintah County and Duchesne County. And it's tremendous for all of us to be here today, and I applaud all of you for being here and appreciate the opportunity to be your commissioner, and thank all of you.
That concludes our meeting and announcement. Jamie would like to get some pictures and recognition along those ways, so if you look towards her, and as mentioned, we'll have some maps to show you information. We appreciate those that came far. I have driven the loneliest road from Reno to Elko. It's not that bad. This is not as bad as that. I always like to say it's faster coming out here than it is going out to Salt Lake, because there's more passing lanes. But for all of you that are here, we appreciate you being here. We've had a few that have come, partners of ours, Midstate and CoBank as well. Rebecca and a number of you that have come. It just means a lot for us, for you to be here, share this with us. And there's a few words that I just want to reiterate that DJ said. We now continue to have opportunity and choice to do our treasures and values, and we've heard some of those today. This is a game changer, and it will be part of the transformation. Thank all of you for being here.